Introduction to Ethical Decision-Making. Ethical decision-making in business is the process of evaluating and choosing actions that are morally right and align with the values and principles of the organization. This process involves balancing competing interests, adhering to ethical guidelines, and making decisions that consider both short-term and long-term consequences for stakeholders. Every business decision, from day-to-day operations to long-term strategic choices, has ethical implications. The ability to make ethical decisions is critical for maintaining a company's reputation, avoiding legal issues, and fostering a positive workplace culture. The importance of ethical decision-making. Ethical decision-making is essential for building trust with customers, employees, investors, and the wider community. It enhances the organization's reputation, promotes corporate social responsibility, CSR, and helps mitigate the risks of unethical behavior, such as fraud, discrimination, or exploitation. 1. Building trust and reputation. Customer trust. Ethical decisions lead to products and services that customers can rely on, promoting brand loyalty and customer retention. Employee morale. When employees believe their company operates ethically, they are more likely to stay motivated and engaged, leading to higher productivity. Investor confidence. Investors are more likely to support a company that consistently demonstrates ethical behavior, which contributes to the long-term success of the business. 2. Avoiding legal and financial risks. Legal risks. Unethical decisions can result in lawsuits, fines, and regulatory action. Companies that prioritize ethical decision-making are less likely to face legal challenges. Financial costs. Engaging in unethical practices can lead to significant financial penalties, compensation claims, or loss of business opportunities. 3. Supporting corporate social responsibility. CSR ethical decision-making is a cornerstone of CSR companies that make decisions with the well-being of society and the environment in mind, contribute positively to sustainable development, ensuring that their operations benefit not only their shareholders, but also the broader community. Frameworks for ethical decision-making. Ethical decision-making frameworks help guide individuals and organizations in making morally sound choices when faced with ethical dilemmas. These frameworks provide a structured approach for evaluating options, considering consequences, and ensuring that decisions align with ethical principles. 1. Utilitarian approach. The utilitarian approach focuses on the consequences of an action. An ethical decision is one that results in the greatest good for the greatest number of people. In business, this approach encourages companies to consider how their decisions affect all stakeholders, including employees, customers, shareholders, and society at large. Example: a company decides to implement cost-cutting measures that result in layoffs. The decision is based on the idea that the company will survive in the long run, preserving jobs for the remaining employees and ensuring the overall health of the business. 2. Rights-based approach. The rights-based approach focuses on respecting and protecting the rights of individuals. Ethical decisions are those that uphold the fundamental rights of stakeholders, such as the right to privacy, safety, and fair treatment. Example: a company chooses to protect employee privacy by not sharing personal data with third parties, even though doing so could generate additional revenue. 3. Justice-based approach. The justice-based approach emphasizes fairness and equality. Ethical decisions should be made in a way that promotes fairness and treats all stakeholders with respect, ensuring that no one is unfairly disadvantaged. Example: a company implements a policy to ensure equal pay for equal work, regardless of gender, race, or background. 4. Virtue ethics approach. The virtue ethics approach focuses on the character of the decision-maker and emphasizes moral virtues such as honesty, integrity, fairness, and empathy. Ethical decisions are those that align with a company's values and the virtues it aims to promote. Example: a leader models transparency and honesty, creating an organizational culture where ethical behavior is the norm. Common ethical dilemmas in business. Business leaders and employees often face ethical dilemmas, situations in which they must choose between two or more conflicting ethical principles. Some common ethical dilemmas include: 1. Conflicts of interest. A conflict of interest occurs when an individual's personal interests or relationships conflict with their professional duties. Ethical decision-making in this context requires identifying potential conflicts and ensuring that personal interests do not influence business decisions. Example, a manager who owns shares in a supplier company might face a conflict of interest when selecting suppliers for the organization. Ethical decision-making would involve disclosing the conflict and recusing themselves from the decision-making process. 2. Discrimination and fair treatment. Ensuring equal treatment of all employees, regardless of race, gender, age, or background, is a critical ethical issue in the workplace. Ethical decision-making requires leaders to create an inclusive environment that promotes fairness and combats discrimination. Example, a company needs to decide whether to hire a candidate from a minority group. Ethical decision-making would ensure that the hiring process is based solely on qualifications, not biased assumptions. 3. Whistleblowing. Whistleblowing occurs when an employee reports unethical or illegal practices within the organization. Employees may face retaliation for speaking up, creating a dilemma about whether to report misconduct. Example, an employee discovers that the company is falsifying financial reports. Ethical decision-making would involve evaluating the potential harm of not reporting the issue and ensuring that the employee feels protected if they choose to blow the whistle. 4. Environmental responsibility. Companies often face decisions that balance profit with environmental impact. Ethical decision-making involves assessing the long-term consequences of actions on the environment and striving to minimize harm. Example, a company faces the decision of whether to use cheaper materials that are harmful to the environment. Ethical decision-making would encourage investing in environmentally friendly alternatives, even if it means higher costs in the short term. Implementing ethical decision-making in organizations. For ethical decision-making to be embedded in an organization's culture, businesses must implement strategies and practices that encourage and support ethical behavior at all levels of the organization. Establishing a code of ethics. A code of ethics is a set of principles that outline the ethical standards expected of employees, management, and the organization as a whole. The code provides clear guidance on what is acceptable behavior and helps employees navigate ethical dilemmas. Example, a company establishes a code of ethics that includes guidelines on conflicts of interest, anti-corruption practices, and treatment of employees. 2. Ethics training and education training programs help employees understand the ethical standards expected of them and how to apply ethical decision-making frameworks in real-life situations. Regular ethics training helps reinforce the company's commitment to ethical behavior. Example, a company holds annual ethics training sessions to educate employees about the importance of ethical decision-making and how to handle ethical challenges in the workplace. 3. Leadership and accountability. Ethical decision-making starts at the top. Leaders must set the example by making ethical decisions and holding themselves accountable for their actions. Leadership commitment to ethics fosters a culture of integrity throughout the organization. Example, a CEO publicly takes responsibility for a company's ethical breach and implements corrective measures to prevent future issues. 4. Establishing whistleblower protections. Whistleblowers must be protected from retaliation. Companies should have clear anonymous channels for employees to report unethical behavior without fear of punishment. Example, a company implements a confidential whistleblowing hotline where employees can report concerns about unethical behavior without revealing their identity. Summary. In this module, we examined the importance of ethical decision-making in business and explored various frameworks that guide ethical choices. Ethical decision-making helps companies build trust, avoid legal risks, and foster a positive organizational culture by implementing strategies such as a code of ethics, ethics training, and leadership accountability. Companies can make ethical decisions that benefit all stakeholders and contribute to long-term success.